Does working with a fake paranormal channel mean that someone who is deemed legitimate is fake? Well, that's what we're going to be diving into today, as Mythos Paranormal has uploaded a video titled "Does teaming up with a paranormal faker mean that you are fake?" And this is kind of an interesting topic because, I mean, for like now more than ever, people are team real or team fake, or, you know, there is no in between anymore. Like, paranormal YouTube is not for the entertainment anymore. It is more, you know, you have to either be completely real, or if you're going to be completely fake, you've got to outline it, otherwise people are going to get really upset with you. And it's a very weird and limbo kind of place to be on YouTube. But Mythos Paranormal basically discovered a YouTube channel that goes by the name of Phantomet. Alright, this is their channel here. And he basically saw that they had created a video with the fam, who they deemed to be fake. So therefore, then they are like, well, you know, that this channel might possibly be fake because they're collaborating with a channel that is fake, or deemed to be fake, if that makes sense. And it's an interesting concept, and it's an interesting talking point, because obviously, you know, a lot of YouTubers have collaborated in the past, and, you know, one of the biggest ways to grow is to collaborate with other YouTubers. Whether they be real, whether they be fake, whether they be somewhere in the middle, you know, it's hard to know who's who these days. But as someone who has dabbled on both sides of the fence, I feel like I'm in a very, you know, educated position to talk about this. So, I'm not going to watch Mythos Paranormal video because although it's a very interesting video and very thought-provoking, Phantomet did actually respond to this video and say, addressing the rumours, Mythos Paranormal reaction, where she basically goes over Mythos's claims within the video and talks about it. But something that I wanted to talk about beforehand is, you know, does this work for every channel, right? So let's take a look at someone like Phantomet, right? 5,000 subscribers, you know, at the start of her career with YouTube, right? You know, she's starting to get her footing in the world of the paranormal, and she's starting to be recognised a little bit more so now that Mythos Paranormal has given her a bit of a shout out. But then her credibility has been questioned because she's worked with the fam, and that's obviously being brought into question by Mythos. Not that there's anything wrong with what Mythos did, he just asked a very blunt question, which is completely fair enough. But for some reason, and I find it strange, people will call out someone like this who's smaller. But when the likes of someone who is deemed to be one of the greats on YouTube, like Amy's Crypt, creates a video working with someone like Kelsey Davies, who has been allegedly called out for, you know, faking paranormal and being, you know, over the top, then, for some reason, Amy's Crypt gets a bit of a wider berth. And I've always found that really interesting. You know, I love Amy's Crypt, her content's amazing. You know, is it real, is it fake? At the end of the day, I don't particularly care, but I know a lot of people do. But again, you know, when Amy's Crypt works with someone like Kelsey Davies, people don't tend to be as up in arms about it as they would be if the likes of, well, Phantomet was to work with someone like The Fam, for example. I'm just using those examples because that's what's been raised within the video. I don't know, what do you guys think about that? But we're going to take a look at Phantomet's reaction video because I'm intrigued I haven't actually seen it. I'm intrigued to see what her reaction to Mythos's claims within the video are. And I'm, you know, I just want to see how she responds to it. From the looks of it, she's got 221 likes, 1 dislike. So that means that, you know, she may have put out a very positive response thus far. But let's take a little look.
Testing, testing, testing. Cool. Hey, welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Today, I'm going to be doing my first ever reaction video. So I'm not going to give anything away. We're just going to get right into it. So this video was sent to me by a friend, and I had no idea it was up or that there was a video up about me. But first reaction, I was like, that's cool. You know, even though it's technically a negative video, I'm not guilty, so we're not worried about that.
Fair enough. I mean, there's a lot of confidence there. Fair play to her. She knows where she stands with it all, so that's positive so far.
But anyway, let's get straight into it.
Right, so as we can see, she's checking out Mythos Paranormals. Does teaming up with the paranormal fakers mean that you are fake? That's the video.
Here he is. The man, the myth, the legend. First of all, off the bat, my first reaction, I love the thumbnail. The thumbnail is amazing. Like
pretty
I
good.
look like a cult leader. I look like the cult leader of all paranormal influencers.
She does, to be fair. Like, you've got her in the center, and I mean, it's a very Mythos has been very clever with his thumbnail, so I'll give him that, like, fair dues, because you know it's a very revealing photo. I don't know how to word it, but then obviously you've got Kelsey, you've got the Paranormal Files, you've got Twin Paranormal, Yasko, Proven Nightmare, no, not Proven Nightmares, Paranormal Nightmares, Omar, and the fam. Angelo?
Like, it's a good picture. You know, he made me look cool. I appreciate that. You know, I recognize all these people that are around me. I have not met most of them. So initially I thought that this was a video about everyone, but turns out it is mostly about me. So let's see.
And today we're talking about being guilty by association. Guilt ascribed to someone not because there is evidence against them, but because of...
Not because there is evidence against them. So he's starting this out by saying there's no evidence, which, you know, true. Anyway, let's.
Fair enough. I mean, she's very confident about this. She's saying, you know, like, yeah, there's no evidence of me faking anything, but basically I'm just being questioned because of guilty by association, essentially. So, you know, she's steadfast thus far.
Let's keep it going.
Association with someone who is guilty. It's something I've been thinking about for a while now, and I've thought it about multiple channels when I've looked at them. I'll click
I agree with that. I'm not disagreeing.
their channels and see they've collabed with whoever, and I'll be like, oh, no way. Sometimes
Wait, Shrek. No, he sounds exactly like Shrek. Not in a bad way. Like, no hate. I'm a silly girl.
It's just straight off the bat, yeah, she sounds like Shrek.
No way. I love that accent.
I mean, Shrek's Scottish. Like, he's got that Scottish accent, and Mythos doesn't have a Scottish accent, but, you know, sure, why not?
And that's actually really cool.
even when people have asked me if I want to do videos with them, I've thought, but you've worked with whoever. So I'm like, nope, sorry. So if you see someone and they're working with someone who has been debunked as a faker, what's your thoughts? Let me know. Just for example, I was watching some video and I seen this
That's
girl
me.
on there and I thought she's alright. And I seen she had her own
That was the church in Garnett. That place is haunted.
so I thought, let's check her out. I clicked on her channel and I seen a thumbnail with The Fam. That's all it takes to be like, oh no. And then now, I don't trust her whole channel because he has been shown to be a massive faker.
Some type of evil presence, some type of demonic force tried to overtake me, tried to possess me.
But to be fair,
I mean, I understand the premise of this, right? Which is, you know, if you work with someone who's been proven to be fake or whatever, then you are guilty by association. But at the same time, you know, collaborations are one of the biggest ways to grow on YouTube. And for a channel like this, you know, to work with someone like The Fam who's got over 500,000 subscribers, that's a big deal. And, you know, someone like this who's like a lot smaller in the paranormal community and is on the up and up, that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, they're fake. It just means that they're seizing an opportunity. Some people would say that they shouldn't. Some people would say that, you know, integrity is more important. But for some people, you know, everyone wants to make it on YouTube. Everyone does. And, you know, some people do it through tearing others down. Some people do it through collaborating with others. Some people do it on their own merits. And no matter how you do it, it really doesn't matter. Like, I think, in my opinion anyway, but that's just how I view YouTube.
don't
That's a big escalation there. Like, I'm throwing the whole channel away. She filmed with this one guy I don't trust. Throw the whole channel out.
Yeah, this is the point I'm trying to make.
I mean, I totally get where this guy's coming from. I don't trust people really ever. If you really look into my channel, most of the time I film alone. I don't have that many friends. I keep my circle very small. And due to just like all of the drama in this field, like we're talking to ghosts, and somehow the paranormal field has become one of the most drama-filled things that I've ever encountered. It's actually quite interesting and incredible.
I completely agree. Like, literally, the best thing I felt like I ever did was step away from paranormal content, because it was just so much drama, and my life has become so stress-free since walking away from that side of it and just kind of looking. I mean, this channel wasn't even meant to be like involving paranormal drama, but you know, people love to watch it and people love to get the rundown on it. So that's why we're where we're at with it. But at the same time, you know, there is always something going on, whether it's he said, she said, you know, he's called this person this, he said this about this person, she said this person about that person. You know, it's just chaos. It's just chaos, and everyone wants to throw their 50 pence in. And, you know, like, this is just how channels grow. I mean, Mythos has got to where he has because he's called people out. Fair play. Other debunkers have, like the Side-Eye guy, for example, fair play. But, you know, some other channels have got to where they are. This channel wouldn't be where it is if I wasn't covering the paranormal drama. Like, you know, I absolutely recognise that. And I don't hide that behind anything. But at the same time as well, you know, like the likes of Twin Paranormal, their content has probably been escalated by drama at certain points. They've just hit over 1 million subscribers. Yes, their content is very, very good. Yes, it's very engaging. Yes, it's very, you know, it fits the algorithm of YouTube. But as well, you know, the drama along the way has definitely fueled their growth. And a lot of channels have grown off the back of drama. And because it's such a niche, like the niche is very controversial, let's say, you know, there's a lot of debate about whether the paranormal's real, whether it's fake. It's the same with alien content. It's the same with Bigfoot content. You're always going to have the people that say that so-and-so's not real, this isn't real for X, Y, and Z reasons. And, you know, you're always going to have people saying, no, they're real because of X, Y, and then, you know, there's warfare. It's a very drama-filled niche, and there's always, everybody wants to have their 50 pence worth heard.
And all of this about, like, James being fake, whoever, this is news to me. So I think that I'm a little bit out of the loop. I'm not going to lie. I don't watch these like debunker channels. I honestly don't watch YouTube in general. I put out my stuff. I watch a conspiracy channel because that one's cool, but I genuinely don't watch any paranormal related things on YouTube. I don't have time. So I guess I missed something there, but the 2 or 3 times I filmed with James, I will swear on my dad's grave that I personally have never seen him fake anything in front of me. I've never faked anything. I mean, I don't know. Let's continue.
I mean, fair enough. Like I say, she's very consistent. She's very headstrong in the fact that she's never faked anything and that James hasn't. You know, but again, she doesn't, like, what I like about her so far is that she's not shitting on Mythos. She's not like, oh, you are this, that, and the other because you've said this. She's like, you know, I hear you. I respect what you're saying. But here's my side of here's my side of things. Here's how I feel about this. And that's how this should be, you know? There should be conversations. There shouldn't be, he said, she said. It should be going to the source and being like, I feel like that you're fake because of X, Y, and Z. Can you talk about this? And then, you know, if you don't get any response or whatever, sure, go ahead and blast it on YouTube or whatever you got to do. But, you know, I don't know. This isn't me taking shots at Mythos either, because me and Mythos are cool. Like, we've got some good conversations going. I chat to Mythos often behind the scenes. You know, he's a cool guy. And I really rate him as a human being and as a content creator. I think his content is second to none when it comes to debunking. I really like it. So I don't want anyone thinking or getting mixed signals here.
Write channels off like that. I will watch just to see for myself, but I'm like, already the trust isn't fully there. So just quickly, I guess, while we are talking about her, let's look at her channel.
That sound effect. He really, you know, the Pepto-Bismol effect really gets him going.
Okay, so she has also...
Okay, donkey. I'm sorry, I'm really not making fun of you. I'm just a silly girl, like I said, but that accent is...
I did some bad things. It's giving JoJo Siwa vibes whenever she says I'm a silly girl. Anyway, you know, again, people will get upset about that kind of thing as well. In the paranormal, because they're like, it's a very serious topic. It's a very serious niche. You have to take it seriously, or, you know, I'm not going to take it seriously. And then for her to do something like that, where it's, you know, quite like raunchy, for want of a better term, you know, people will that will turn people off. Like, again, she's just doing like, it's very, I haven't seen anyone else do that. I wish I could pull that kind of shit off, but no one wants to see me do that because it would be disgusting. People would be utterly horrified by that. So fair play to her. She's just doing what she got. Not doing what she got to do. She's just doing what she can do, and fair, all the power to her.
It's just really interesting to me. It's so cool.
With Chris Starr, as you can see there, which also makes me go, ooh, because she's fake as F.
I was feeling this deep looming, just like fear. I just had to get out of there. I heard these voices in my head. My guides were telling me that it was dangerous and unsafe. And it's not that it was a physical person. So I had a moment where I felt, okay, it's not a physical person, so I'm not going to be harmed. But it felt very heavy and very, very dark.
What it sounds like he was having was a panic attack.
If you go...
So I didn't watch that video. Like I said, even people I'm friends with, I don't watch their YouTube. I don't have the time to do so. I didn't watch that video, but whatever incident that was, I know Chris called me after and she was highly disturbed. So yeah, that's interesting.
Either of those people's channels, you'll see their collabs with other people who have all been shown to be fake, or just are people who are obviously fake. It's ridiculous.
But again, this brings into question, like I said before, about the likes of Amy's Crypt, for example. You know, like, she collabed with Kelsey Davies, like, literally recently. There's 2 videos up on her channel in, like, the last, like, couple of weeks. And, you know, people aren't so up in arms about it when it's someone like Amy's Crypt. So, I don't know. I can't help but feel it's one, you know, it's like one rule for one rule for another, because Amy Crypt's proven herself, so therefore she doesn't deserve to be questioned when she works with people that have been quote unquote debunked or, you know, proven to be fake or whatever. But at the same time, you know, there has to be an argument made that people change, you know, like, people develop, people evolve, people, you know, their content changes. Like, for me, for example, I don't do the same content that I was doing, like, 2 or 3 years ago. So, therefore, the content now shouldn't be questioned. It shouldn't be bought into, you know, if anything, I've got, like, the best outlook on all of it because I've played all parts of the field, you know, and I can see it for what it truly is. And, you know, like, I don't know, I just feel like if someone like, I don't know, let's say Kelsey Davies, just because she was on Amy's Crypt, if she changed her ways and her content shifted and she stopped doing what she was doing, for example, and that was deemed to be quote unquote fake, should that be should that bring her new content into question? Personally, I don't think so, because people change, people move, people evolve, people change up what they do. You know, like, I wouldn't expect my content over on Simply Said, for example, which is another one of my YouTube channels. I run like 8 YouTube channels now. I wouldn't expect the other content to be questioned because of content that I made 2 years ago. Does that make sense?
You fucking moron!
Now listen, I'm not trying to go in on her, but I'm just using her as an example because I've just found her channel and I'm giving my thoughts about coming across a channel that has known fakers on. There's a lot of typical YouTube ghost hunting stuff on there because she's probably got it from them. But this video here with her boyfriend was actually not too bad. If she just did them with him from now on, I wouldn't complain. She seems to take everything as a ghost, and I'm not sure if she actually thinks that or is doing it for a video, but her...
Okay, to touch on that a little bit, I mean, I'm not saying I'm perfect in any way. I will swear in everything I love. I have never faked paranormal evidence. I really do pride myself on that. Anyone that knows me knows I really enjoy this stuff. I don't make money on this. Any location I go to, like, I'm paying for that out of my pocket. Like, sometimes I've struggled to be able to do this. So for me to fake things, like, it wouldn't make sense for me to do so.
What's unfortunate for someone like this is she's already fighting an uphill battle, right? Because she's new, no one knows much about her. And then, you know, she's getting her foot in, like I've said before. She's like, you know, starting to pick up on the views side of things, and people are starting to recognize her and take note of her channel. I'll admit I haven't watched any of her videos or paranormal investigations, so I you know, I can't say for certain what's what, but you know, just from how integral she's been in this response and how it's not like shit slinging, it's like, you know, it's very matter of fact. This is this. I swear on this. I know it's very easy for people to do that, but the point being is she's already fighting this uphill battle. No one knows anything about her. She needs to build up obviously that level of credibility and get a fan base before she's able to like be fully trusted, I suppose. But at the same time, let's just see what she says.
And you know, people are going to believe what they want to believe, and obviously I'm not going to change anyone's mind. But when you said I take everything as a ghost, I think more so what that is, this could be me being on edge. Like, most of the time I'm legitimately at these locations completely alone. I'm the only one I can find anywhere on YouTube that filmed at Haunted Hill House in Texas alone. And I ran out of there screaming. I was so scared. So I think when I'm on edge sometimes, like when there's noises or things are happening, like, oh, it's probably a ghost. So yeah, maybe I got to tone that down a little bit, but I get nervous. It's hard.
I mean, I respect that. She's obviously turning around there and saying, you know, like, I can tone that down. I'll take that on board. It's, you know, positive criticism. And at the same time as well, you know, you got to think, there's this whole like mentality of it where if you go into a haunted location and you have the preconceived idea in your head that this place is haunted, this place is terrifying, I'm probably going to experience a ghost, and you hear a knock, instantly your brain is going to go, that's a ghost, without looking for rationale, because you're already at a heightened state of emotion, you're already at a heightened state of terror, okay, and you're going to conceive the minor things that you might not even notice if you were in a group, or you were there during the day, or you were there on a tour, or you were living there, for example. You probably would like put that in a box and you'd be like, oh, that's just the floorboards creaking. They do that because it's got cold. Instead, you're gonna go, you've already got this preconceived notion that there's a ghost in this house, you've been told it's haunted, you've read up on the history, and then you've gone there and you've heard a knock, you're alone, it's dark, it's terrifying, you're already at a heightened state of emotion, bang, that's a ghost, you run out screaming. You know, it's hard, it's easy for people on the other side of a keyboard, like in the comments section, for example, to say, oh, you know, you overreacted there, I wouldn't have reacted that way, but you know, put yourself in her shoes. Or,
you know, I want there to be activity. So, you know, I guess I got to work on that. Let's continue.
Respect that. She's just like, yeah, you know, I'll take that on board. I can work on this. Don't you worry. Constructive criticism. Taking not a negative, because I don't think Mythos has been negative towards her at all in this video, but taking what he said as a potential positive. I like it. Picasso.
Friend doesn't seem to believe anything. When she thought something was this, he was quick to call it out that it could just be that. It was actually a good balance.
That is true. It is a good balance. So Tanner doesn't not believe everything. He is just more skeptic than me. So he's like, let's debunk this. But in that clip he showed, you know, Tanner was like, let me go debunk this. And he was like, holy poop. That was ghost footsteps that we heard on camera. So I do agree with that. I like the balance. I like having someone that is more skeptical. Even though it doesn't seem like it, I would consider myself definitely a skeptic in certain ways, besides me being on edge and like overthinking when there's sounds at an abandoned prison. But I like the balance. I love filming with Tanner, but you know, he's busy. We do it when we can.
team of believer
Can't argue
and
with that.
skeptic. But like I said, I'm not just focusing on her. For an example, what about exploring with Josh? I've said multiple times that I love Josh and his exploring videos. But when I mention that, I've seen comments like, Mythos, what are you talking about? Josh is fake as F. But to be honest, I've never really seen anything to say he's fake.
And again, this is something that like I was trying to make a point of earlier is it necessary? Like Josh has been, told, like I've heard that Josh has faked his content, whatever, through YouTube videos. That's fine. But at the same time, when he does not paranormal videos, should the videos that have nothing to do with the paranormal be discredited because of his alleged actions in other content? No, like because it's completely. It's removed from that. It's got nothing to do with that content. Like I said, people move on, people evolve. I have conversations with Josh behind the scenes all the times. Again, I chat with these people often, like Josh, Mythos, Yasko, Omar, people like this. I have conversations with these people all the time, and they're cool people. And they change. Their content evolves, their channel evolves, they go on to do different things. But then people still like to cling on to the fact that, oh, you faked this one time. Or you faked this string of videos. Therefore, everything that you do doesn't deserve to be credited. And it's like, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like, we've moved on from that. That's completely different. But
if you look at who he's collabed with, though, is this why people are saying that? And put him in the same box as well? Do you see what I'm saying?
Now, I learnt this method through working with other YouTubers such as Exploring My Fighters and Dark Arts Paranormal, probably one of the worst paranormal investigators to carry one of these.
To be fair, people who haven't really been debunked but have outright just come out and admitted to faking.
Fake content like that is just... it will bite you in the ass, I promise you. And it only takes one thing like that to really destroy your credibility, your channel, your friendships, and it's just not worth it.
That's deep.
It really isn't. Where do I go from there?
Again, though, like I completely respect where that's coming from Exploring with Fighters, but at the same time, like I said, there has to be people have to allow the opportunity for people to change and evolve. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't just dangle that carrot in front of someone for the rest of their lives because they did something that you didn't like years ago, for example, or months ago, or days ago, or weeks ago. I'd say probably like years ago is probably better, because if you suddenly change, it looks a bit transparent. But, all this, I don't know, man. I don't know. I personally don't understand.
So, at the end of the day, no, people might not be fake just because they have worked with a faker, but it doesn't look good, and it could definitely ruin their credibility that they might have earned over years and years worth of content. As a fan, it does make you go, ugh, with disappointment when you see it happen. Let me know your thoughts down in...
Again, though, this is where I bring in Amy's Crypt. She's built up years and years of respect. And I've heard many debunkers say that they've got nothing but respect for Amy's Crypt because they are one of the good guys. They're one of the real teams. But then they work with someone like Kelsey Davies. No one bats an eye. And I'm a bit like... It's a bit like one rule for one rule for another. And I don't know. I don't know. I just don't get it.
In the comments below. Very interested to hear what you think about this one. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not doing this for money. I don't make any money off of this. I genuinely enjoy the field of the paranormal. I really dislike when people say, like, there's only one way to do ghost hunting. This is how you do it. If you do it this way, it's wrong. There's no way to really prove or disprove most of these things.
Yeah, I respect that. People like to have a particular way in which they like to do things, and they think that that's the right way to do things. Or someone tells them, they watched it on Ghost Adventures, for example. They saw Zach Baggins use... I don't know, an SLS camera one time, and they were like, that's the only way to prove that ghosts are real. I don't know, like, that was just an example I plucked from the top of my head. But then that doesn't mean that's the only way to go stunt. Many people have many different methods. People like to not use equipment at all. Most people like to use all the equipment. Most people like to do Estes method. Most people like to communicate through knocks and bangs. I don't know. Like, there's so many different ways that, and none of it's proved or disproved, you know, like, at all.
This is a very intangible subject when it comes down to it. All I know is when weird things happen, like, could it be paranormal? Maybe. Could it not be? I don't know. None of us really know. And like I said, I genuinely enjoy it. And it's unfortunate that people, like, Chris Starr is, I swear, that girl doesn't fake anything. Like, she's never faked anything in front of me. And like I said, I will put that on my dad's grave. She is a very intuitive being. And like, what do people mean by faking stuff? Like, I'm sure there's different levels to this. If I had to guess, like putting a string on something and pulling a door closed, or like, is it as minuscule as saying like, I feel this, when you don't really feel that. So I'm going to have to look into this.
Or is it something along the lines of, you say that you feel something, but then actually there could be a logical explanation. But like I said before, when you've got the preconceived notion of a place being haunted and you go in there and you feel a cold breeze across your shoulder and nowhere else on your body, your first instinct isn't to go, is there a window open? Let me just see what that breeze could have possibly been. You know, you're freaked out and you're like, oh, I just felt something. Now that's just a knee-jerk reaction. You're just like, oh, I felt that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that feeling was fake. It just means that you've not fully understood what the feeling was. So does that mean that someone's fake? I don't know. I don't know what the outline is, what the bullet points are to define someone as faking content, if that makes sense.
Community. I mean, it's cool that they're debunking this, because I dislike people faking paranormal stuff just as much as the next guy, because it makes people not take real stuff seriously. Like, I've caught crazy stuff on film and people are like, that's fake. And I kind of get excited because I'm like, wow, this was actually such a crazy capture that people genuinely think this is fake. So yeah, I'm very interested.
Pretty good outlook to have on it, to be fair.
Interested to look into that. I'm also interested to see kind of like what people are saying here down in the comments. Fakers all seem to stick together. The other thing is, like, I mean, whether people are gonna be like mad that I'm filming with Chris Starr, like, she's an amazing human being. She doesn't fake anything in front of me, and I'm not gonna stop filming with someone like that to make other people happy, because like I said, I'm doing this for my own enjoyment.
That's another thing, you know, like, someone's character shouldn't be brought into question because of alleged faking, you know, like, I've spoken to a lot of people, like I've said, you know, some have been, you know, deemed to be fakers, some have been deemed to be the real people. They're all fantastic people. I've spoken to Mythos, lovely guy. I speak to Yasko, lovely guy. I speak to Omar, lovely guy. You know, like, these people are just really, really nice people, and I'd hope that they'd say the same about me. They might think I'm an arsehole behind the scenes, you know, that is what it is. But, you know, I don't know what I've done to give them that impression. But at the same time, it's like, someone's personal character shouldn't be brought into question because of the content they put out. Because at the end of the day, your online character, let's say, and your real life person sometimes can be two very different people. Some people need a persona to be able to switch off from that. Like, I'm not as energetic and high octane. Actually, I am pretty high octane in real life. Miss my ADHD, but you know, I'm always like upbeat. I'm always trying to, like, you know, talk a lot, and that's just who I am as a person. But sometimes I can be over the top on camera. I can be, you know, like, very serious on camera, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's me as a person. That's just who I am when I'm on camera. I'm very different. I switch that off and I can become someone different. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, you've got to do what is working for the camera. You've got to work with the video, you know, and you also just, mold yourself to fit to the scenario of the video. For example, like there's a lot of different videos where sometimes you've got to take a serious tone, sometimes you can take quite a jovial tone, sometimes you can be quite silly, sometimes you can be, you know, you've just got to work with it.
I'm sharing my journey with you guys. You can like it or not like it, but you know, this is as much for me as it is anything else. I think, yeah, you know, these comments are really looking like mob mentality here.
That's something that I have noticed, not just in debunkers and in paranormal, but that's just YouTube. If one person says something and, you know, people will just blindly follow that person. And that's a bit of a problem, because someone can say the most outlandish things about someone, and then everyone will just instantly assume that that's the case and that person should be hated for that reason, instead of basing their feelings off of their own experience with that person's content or feelings with that person's, you know, in person, for example. You know, someone can love a channel and then instantly someone that they watch says that person's fake, so therefore you shouldn't like them, and then bang, that person's like, I hate that person now. I loved their content yesterday. Not today though. Hate them. Scum of the earth. And it's like, it's so weird. I don't know. I just don't understand it. Like, there is this mob mentality with it. And again, like I say, that just comes with all aspects. I'm not singling out any particular. Like, paranormal people can have the same kind of effect. Like, someone can say that this location isn't haunted, for example. They go to explore there and they're like, oh, you know, I don't know what these people are talking about. And instantly that location is scratched off of these people's list. So they're like, oh, that person said that's not a genuine paranormal location. So they didn't experience anything, so I'm not going to bother going there. It's fake. It's not real. It's just dramatized. And it's like, you know, everybody has it.
It's crazy. These comments are crazy. Like, everyone that's like, yep, guilty by association. Like, if you think about it, Dahmer. Does that mean everyone that Dahmer hung out with or came into contact with was also a serial killer? Guilty by association? Like, that doesn't work in every scenario. Like, that's very disappointing. And what
I'm not 100% sure that those two things line up, but I understand the concept that she's going with, but I don't think the Dahmer reference was quite the nail on the head, but I completely understand where she's coming from.
I think this is more so in the comments is like that mob mentality, like the cancel culture. Let's take them down. People just feed off of each other's energy and it just gets negative so fast. But, you know, like I said, people can believe it or they cannot. But I will tell you what, I enjoy what I do and I will continue to do so. It's funny because I've been to so many locations that I didn't post videos from because nothing happened. And I was like, no one's going to want to see me just like walking around this building, not finding anything.
You should post those videos. If you ever see this video, I doubt you will, but if you do, by any stretch of the imagination, you should post those videos, because if there's anything that I've learned from my many years on YouTube, people will appreciate that honesty, where it's like, look, even if you put a disclaimer at the front or something and say, nothing happened, but this was a cool experience. People, I think that would go a long way to help your credibility with these kind of people. And it would help your, I don't know, I think people would also appreciate to see that actually not every video that you do is this jumped up paranormal experience. It's like you do go to places and you don't necessarily experience something. Even if it's a shorter video where you crop it down to just some like cool little things that you found within the location or something like that, or where you tried to make contact but nothing happened. People would appreciate that because they'll be like, well, actually, she gave it a good shot. Nothing happened. That's just the way that the cookie crumbles sometimes. I think that would probably go quite a long way.
So yeah, I have spent tons of money on going to locations where nothing has happened and I didn't post it, when I could have easily tied the string on the door or whatever and made something happen. Speaking of strings on things, this reminds me of at Goldfields Hotel. The Goldfield Hotel, abandoned, crazy place. When I was getting the tour there, the tour guide lady actually told me when I got into the basement, she was like, hey, this is the area where the Ghost Adventures team filmed their thing. And she's like, if you see the original footage, you'll see the string.
She said this is hilarious, because she said this to Ghost Club Paranormal as well. I bet it was the caretaker, because it was the caretaker that exposed him last time to that's hilarious.
And I cut that out of my video because I didn't want to get sued or endure any drama. But if you look at Ghost Club Paranormal's video, the tour guide said the same thing to her, and she put it in her video. So I give her props for that. Brave girl right there.
Yeah, she's got some bottle keeping that in. I mean, I covered it, and I was just like, this is just another nail in Zach Baggins' coffin.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really want to say here. I mean, that's pretty much it. Mythos, if you want to see if I'm legit or not, let's go film somewhere. Let's go hunt some ghosts together, and you can see what it...
Fair enough, can't argue with that. Mythos is getting basically an invitation to go and do something, and respect. You know, if someone was truly fake, they wouldn't have the goals to say, oh yeah, let's just go and do something together.
It's all about. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching my very first reaction video. Maybe
I think she did a fantastic job with that, and I think Mythos did a fantastic job at raising the question. Like I say, I'm not picking a side in particular, I'm just like raising the question, and I want to pose the same question to you guys, because in my opinion, I understand where people are coming from. I mean, if you faked content from years ago, does that necessarily mean that you're still, even if your content's shifted and is completely different to what it was, does that necessarily mean that you should still be tarnished with that brush? Because I don't think so. If I saw someone who was deemed to be fake and they shifted content and they went in another direction, they were doing something else, I feel like that would be completely irrelevant to the original point. But what do you guys think? I think, you know, she handled that fantastically. Mythos asked the question fantastically, and I would love to see what Mythos would have to say about this topic. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. While you're down there, be sure to jump scare the hell out of that like button, and until next time, I'll speak to you later. Peace!